Two titans of Gothic literature, two supernatural forces that have defied mortality and captivated human imagination for centuries. Carmilla, the seductive vampire shrouded in dark mysteries, versus Dracula, the Lord of Darkness whose very presence is synonymous with terror. Who would prevail when it comes to strength, intellect, speed, allies, powers, or powers of persuasion? Get ready to unravel this epic battle. To understand the confrontation between Carmilla and Dracula, it is essential to delve into their literary origins. Carmilla, created by Sheridan Le Fanu in 1872, is one of the first modern vampires in literature. Even before Dracula, she captivated and terrified readers with her sensual and predatory aura. On the other hand, Dracula, Bram Stoker's masterpiece published in 1897, solidified the archetype of the vampire as we know it today, an immortal, powerful, and strategic being. Carmilla's impact on literature is often overshadowed by Dracula's success. However, the influence of the vampiress is undeniable. She not only introduced the concept of vampirism as seduction, but also boldly explored themes such as identity and sexuality for her time. Dracula, in contrast, embodied pure terror, a nearly divine threat encapsulating Victorian fears of invasion and disease. While Dracula is seen as an imposing and public force, Carmilla operates subtly, preferring seduction and manipulation. These differences make them fascinating adversaries. But would Dracula's direct approach prove more effective than Carmilla's discreet methods? Or would her subtlety make her an unpredictable opponent? The success of both characters transcended literature, inspiring film adaptations, series, and debates on the cultural significance of vampires. This brings us to the heart of our question. In a battle, would Dracula's raw power be enough to overcome Carmilla's cunning? Dracula is widely recognized for his superhuman powers. He possesses immense physical strength, the ability to control animals like wolves and bats, and can even transform into mist. Additionally, he commands legions of servants, making him a strategic military force. However, these abilities come with limitations. Dracula is vulnerable to sunlight, garlic, crosses, and stakes. Carmilla, on the other hand, operates with a different focus. Her strength lies in psychological and emotional manipulation. She can dominate her victims gradually, embedding herself into their lives until she achieves total control. Her ability to navigate society undetected is her greatest weapon. However, her weaknesses also include vulnerability to sunlight and traditional methods of exorcism. In terms of raw power, Dracula seems to have the advantage. However, Carmilla could exploit Dracula's confidence and predictable behavior. Her stealthy and adaptable style makes her an opponent he might underestimate, which could prove fatal in a battle. If the two were to face off directly, it would be a battle of contrasts, overwhelming power against subtlety and strategic intelligence. Which approach would prevail? Carmilla is driven by emotional desires and, in many ways, is a tragic figure. Her thirst for blood is often accompanied by a need for connection, especially with young women. This duality of predator and lover makes her captivating. Her emotional nature may seem like a weakness, but it is also what makes her unpredictable. Dracula, on the other hand, is a personification of power and dominance. He seeks no emotional connection. His motivation is territorial and predatory. He aims to conquer and consume, using fear as his primary weapon. His confidence in his strength and intellect can be both his greatest advantage and his greatest vulnerability. Analyzing their personalities, we can infer that Carmilla would use Dracula's need for control against him. Her ability to psychologically manipulate her victims could be a trump card, especially if she managed to destabilize Dracula's confidence before a direct confrontation. This psychological battle would be as intense as the physical one, with Carmilla exploiting Dracula's emotional weaknesses and Dracula attempting to crush her resistance with his overwhelming presence. The setting of a battle between Carmilla and Dracula would directly influence the outcome. In a dark castle surrounded by mist and nocturnal creatures, Dracula would have a clear advantage. His control over the environment and his servants would bolster his strength. Conversely, Carmilla thrives in social or intimate settings, where she can manipulate and psychologically weaken her opponent. If she managed to lure Dracula into an environment where he lacked control, she could unbalance him. A confrontation in a neutral setting, such as a forest or ruins, would level the playing field. Dracula would have to rely on his physical strength, while Carmilla would use her ability to vanish into the shadows and manipulate her opponent's emotions. This battle would be marked by moments of pure tension, where every move would be critical. Both have strengths that shine in different environments, but who would adapt better to the unexpected? Dracula is known for his ability to gather loyal followers. From hypnotized human servants to wolves and bats, he commands an army at his disposal. This network of allies gives him a significant strategic advantage. Carmilla, in contrast, prefers to work alone, but this does not mean she is defenseless. Her ability to emotionally manipulate her victims allows her to create temporary allies, often without their awareness. These alliances may be less enduring, but are highly effective in critical moments. A battle of armies would undoubtedly favor Dracula. However, Carmilla could turn Dracula's own allies against him, subverting their loyalties and planting doubts in his mind. This war of psychological manipulation would add a fascinating layer to their confrontation. When it comes to intelligence, both Carmilla and Dracula exhibit a mix of cunning and predatory instinct, but their styles are radically different. Dracula is known for his strategic mindset, devising complex plans to manipulate and subdue his enemies. He understands power dynamics and uses them to ensure his supremacy, turning the weaknesses of others into advantages for himself. Carmilla, however, operates with sharp emotional intelligence. Her ability to read and manipulate human emotions is unmatched. While Dracula commands through fear and strength, Carmilla earns trust and affection from her victims, rendering them vulnerable before striking. This psychological approach allows her to overcome barriers without relying on physical force or loyal servants. If placed face-to-face, Dracula would focus on direct strategies and calculated tactics, while Carmilla would use subtlety and the environment to destabilize him. This doesn't make her any less capable. On the contrary, her intelligence is adaptive, allowing her to improvise and subvert expectations. Ultimately, determining who is more intelligent depends on the context. Dracula excels in large-scale tactical planning, while Carmilla shines in deception and persuasion. In a battle, this difference could determine the winner, depending on who manages to push the other out of their comfort zone first. Manipulation is a key trait for both Carmilla and Dracula, but their methods differ drastically. Carmilla thrives on emotional manipulation, weaving herself into the lives of her victims with charm and allure. She preys on trust and affection, using her beauty and charisma to gain influence over others. Her manipulative skills are subtle and psychological, designed to break down defenses without her victims even realizing it. Dracula, on the other hand, exerts manipulation through domination and fear. His hypnotic powers allow him to control minds and bend others to his will. However, his approach is often more forceful, relying on his inherent authority and power to intimidate and command obedience. His manipulations are less about winning trust and more about enforcing submission. Could Carmilla manipulate Dracula? The answer lies in their contrasting strengths. While Dracula's confidence in his own power makes him difficult to sway, it also creates a potential weakness. Carmilla's expertise in emotional manipulation could exploit his arrogance or his need for control. By subtly undermining his confidence, she could potentially plant doubts or manipulate his decisions. That said, Dracula is no easy target. His resilience and intellect make him a formidable opponent in the realm of manipulation. However, Carmilla's mastery of psychological tactics could give her a fighting chance. Whether she could ultimately manipulate him would depend on the circumstances and how much time she had to work her influence. When it comes to speed, both Carmilla and Dracula possess supernatural agility, but they use it in distinct ways. Dracula is often described as incredibly fast, whether in combat or when moving through the shadows. He can transform into mist or a bat almost instantly, allowing him to vanish and reappear in another location within seconds. This ability makes him not only physically swift, but also strategically unpredictable. Carmilla, on the other hand, is equally fast, but her speed leans more towards stealth. She uses her agility to strike when least expected or to escape unfavorable situations. Her supernatural grace contributes to her combat style, which is fluid and almost hypnotic. While less overt than Dracula's displays of speed, her agility is deadly when timed perfectly, especially when combined with her emotional manipulation. Side by side, Dracula would likely have the edge in sheer speed during combat, especially considering his transformations into animals or mist, which make him almost impossible to track. However, Carmilla compensates with more subtle and strategic movements, using her agility to create opportunities rather than relying solely on brute force. In the context of a direct confrontation, Dracula's speed might overwhelm her initially, but Carmilla's tactical intelligence, coupled with her own agility, could allow her to mount an effective counterattack. Ultimately, determining who is faster depends on how speed is utilized. Dracula is more straightforward, while Carmilla is more calculated. While Dracula has the strength and territorial dominance, Carmilla possesses emotional intelligence and manipulation skills. In a direct confrontation, Dracula would likely prevail due to his superior strength. However, if Carmilla had time to plan and manipulate, she could turn the tables. In the end, the winner would depend on the context of the confrontation. But perhaps the real victory lies in the fact that both continue to fascinate and terrify generations, ensuring their stories live on forever. And now, we want to know, who do you think will win this clash of Gothic legends? Share your thoughts in the comments below. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to like this video, subscribe to our channel, and turn on notifications so you never miss another thrilling story. See you next time.